Hey everyone! So today we're going to talk about a company that's right in the middle of a huge economic story happening in Vietnam, Lizen, ticker LCG. And its story is tied directly to this massive wave of national investment that's going on.
And when I say massive, I mean it. This isn't just a small ripple, it's a tidal wave. You see, Vietnam is pumping a record amount of money into public investment right now. It's creating this, well, it's almost like a gold rush for the entire infrastructure sector. And that's a wave that could lift a lot of boats.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we'll get into the big picture, what we're calling the public investment fever. Then we'll look at the big players in the race of giants. After that, we'll zoom in on Lizen's inner strength, crunch the numbers, and finally look at the vision and risks ahead. Okay, so let's kick things off with Section 1, the public investment fever. You really can't understand a company like LCG without getting a grip on the huge tailwind it has at its back. When a government decides to spend this much on infrastructure, it's like a rising tide for the whole construction industry.
And look, this isn't just some vague plan. We're talking hard deadlines here. The government wants massive projects like the North-South Expressway done and dusted by 2025 and 2026. I mean, can you imagine the pressure that creates? It's an enormous and, more importantly, an urgent demand for companies that can get the job done.
So that leads us right into our next section, the race of giants. Because of course, LCG isn't out there alone. This is a super competitive space, with several major companies all fighting for a slice of this multi-billion-dollar pie. Now, take a look at the competition here. These are not small fish. You've got giants like Vinaconex, that's VCG, and their profit literally doubled. Then there's Deoca, or HHV, with profits jumping over 55%. These guys are heavy hitters, and this is exactly what makes Lizen so interesting. They're not just playing the same game of sheer size. Their profile is, well, it's different. It's built on financial discipline.
And that's the perfect lead-in to Section 3, Lizen's inner strength. We've set the stage, we've seen the other players. Now let's zoom in on what really makes LCG tick and why it stands out. So what's the actual investment case here? It really breaks down into 4 key points. First, and this is absolutely huge in this industry, their financial position is rock solid with very low debt. Second, they have a massive backlog of projects already signed, which pretty much guarantees their revenue. Third, they're not just thinking about today, they're already gearing up for the next big thing, high-speed rail. And fourth, the market might not be fully appreciating all this, which means its valuation looks really attractive right now.
You know, Nam just mentioned their financial position, and it's worth taking a second to define what solid internal strength actually means for you as an investor. It's not just about growing. It's about being tough enough to handle market ups and downs. And for LCG, that strength comes from a really clean balance sheet with very little financial risk. It's that simple.
And if you want a number that really paints a picture of their momentum, here it is, 7.3 trillion Vietnamese dong. That's the value of the contracts LCG already has locked in. So, what does that number actually mean? Think about it. This isn't a projection or some pie-in-the-sky goal. It is a guaranteed pipeline of revenue coming in for at least the next 2 years. For an investor, that kind of predictability is golden. It's super rare and incredibly valuable. All right, let's switch gears to Section 4 and look at LCG by the numbers. We're going to break this down from 2 different angles, the core fundamentals and then what the stock chart is telling us right now. Okay, first, the fundamentals. The PE ratio is sitting around 15.6, which is pretty standard. But here's the number that should make you sit up. The price-to-book ratio, the PB, it's 0.76. What that means is the stock is actually trading for less than what the company's assets are worth on paper. That's a classic signal that a company might be undervalued. And it's not just us saying that. Analysts over at BSC see a potential upside of around 30% from here.
Now let's look at it from a technical perspective. This chart tells a story. After a nice run-up, the stock has pulled back a bit. Right now, it's in what traders call a correction and accumulation phase. It's basically moving sideways, building up steam around that 11 to 11.5 level. A lot of times, a pattern like this can be the launchpad for the next big move up.
Okay, for our last section, let's look to the future with vision and risks. Because a great investment is never just about what's happening today, right? You need a clear plan for tomorrow and a real-world understanding of the potential bumps in the road. And this really is the big question for any company that's riding this current wave. What happens next? I mean, the North-South Expressway isn't going to be under construction forever. So any smart company has to be asking itself, what comes after the highway era? Well, LCG has a pretty compelling answer. They're already making moves to pioneer that future. They're preparing their people, they're investing in the right equipment for the next huge infrastructure boom in Vietnam, high-speed rail. This isn't just reacting, it's strategy. It's positioning themselves to lead the next decade, not just be a player in this one. But, we have to look at both sides of the coin. There are definitely risks to keep in mind. First, red tape. Delays in getting sites cleared can always slow things down. Second, costs. If the price of materials like steel and cement keeps rising, that could eat into their profit margins. And finally, you've got about 364 billion dong in accounts receivable. That's money they're owed. There's always a chance some of that could turn into bad debt. So these are things you've absolutely got to watch. So when you put all the pieces together, a really powerful story emerges. You've got this lean financial structure that makes them resilient, combined with a huge project pipeline that guarantees growth. LCG really does look like it's positioned not just to compete with the giants, but to lead in its own way. So here's the bottom line. You have a company with a foundation that is solid as a rock and a really clear vision for what's next. They're already looking beyond the highways of today to the high-speed rail of tomorrow. And that leaves us with one final thought, one final question for you. With that kind of foundation and vision, is Lizen ready to build Vietnam's future? Thanks so much for joining us.